How you doing? My name's James Whitaker. Welcome to the Golf Shack Academy. I've got James Savage, the National Club Golfer Equipment Editor, and today we're going to be looking and talking about the Mizuno JPX900 range.
Yep.
So, what's your first impressions of the range, James?
Well, I've already done a video on these where I've had a little hit with each one, talking a little bit about the technology. Just to summarise that we have got 3 different irons with 3 different materials and technologies here in the JPX900 Hot Metal, the JPX900 Forged and the JPX900 Tour. I tested these out as a 17 handicapper. I'd be leaning towards the bigger of the 3, which is the Hot Metal. I love the look of the Forged, and the Tour, to be honest with you, I find a little bit scary. Unbelievably good feel from all 3, as you'd expect from Mizuno. They really do feel fantastic, and like I say, I tested them out on the course here at Marlton. I don't find the centre of the club face that often, so I think to get a true reflection of how these irons perform against the other, I think that's why we drafted in our anonymous big hitter to give them a hit, to get some good numbers on the Trackman. But just before we go into that, James, what would you expect to see from these 3 irons, and what sort of players would you expect to kind of go into each of the 3 models?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, the Tour. The Tour is what it's all about, isn't it? It's a proper looking golf club. Thin top line, not a lot of offset on there, so someone who strikes the ball out of the middle an awful lot. So a single figure golfer who is pretty comfortable with his game would be someone I'd be looking at there. The Forged, I think the Forged has actually got quite a big mix of golfers there. I mean, it's a very attractive golf club. Yeah. Someone who doesn't hit it out of the middle all the time, but I mean, there's a lot of good golfers out there who don't always hit it straight out of the middle. So I think that could go all the way up to a 20 handicapper quite comfortably. And then you've got the Hot Metal, which is, I mean, that's a powerful golf club. That's all about ball speed for me. Someone who slightly slower club head speed, looking for a little bit more of a bit more help. Yeah, a bit of a kick. That's that golf club that you need to put in their hands. Absolutely. Well, like I say, just in terms of like what I would expect to see performance-wise, just to say that I've tested these out with a variety of different shafts, but when we had our anonymous big hitter in, we got a shaft that we thought would work well for him, which was the Project X 6.5, and we've put that in each head. We've got a 6-iron head, and we got so it was a very fair test, because with the models that I've got here, the ones that I was testing out, you've almost got a shaft to suit the type of player. So we've got sort of quite a light regular shaft in the Hot Metal, going up to an S300 shaft in the JPX900 Tour. But to test these out one against another would be almost like it wouldn't be a fair test at all, would it? Because the shafts is such a key part. But with the same shaft and the same heads, it's a really fair test. It's a good test to do, isn't it? Yeah. And what we'd expect to see, I'd probably expect to see a little bit more spin, and possibly quite a high-ish launch with the Tour, because there's a little bit less loft on there. I'd expect to see the Forge to be, to be fairly consistent, maybe a little bit flying a little bit further than the Tour. And then with the Hot Metal, I'd expect to see high-ish ball flight, but I expect to see more ball speed. Is that sort of thing what you'd expect to see from the 3? I think with anything as well, it'd be interesting to see how the offset changes the shots through. Yeah. How the miss hits are, how the ball speed is throughout the bag. Through the bad shots. Obviously, the Hot Metal does have quite a bit more offset compared to the Tour. So does that make the ball go left, or is that changing the dispersion? Yeah. So especially now we've got this, the same shaft in all of them. It's going to be good. Absolutely. I think what will be very interesting to see is that how does a miss hit on the JPX900 Tour perform compared to a miss hit on the JPX 900 Hot Metal. Now I'd just expect, you can tell just by looking at the clubs, that I think there's going to get a bit more forgiveness off there. I think you're going to get more ball speed off the off-centre hit, but the proof is in the pudding. Let's take a look at our anonymous big hitter hitting some shots, and then we'll analyse some of the Trackman data. Okay, so our anonymous big hitters hit a range of shots there with all three of the heads, and we're just going to have a little bit of a chat through the Trackman numbers, which are quite interesting actually.
Yeah, really interesting.
So we started off with a tour head,
Yep.
kind of getting good numbers there, spun a little bit more than I thought it would do. Carrying 176, which was it was a good number. Height was kind of low, but kind of solid. But when he did miss hit it, I think that's where the spin rate and the average spin rate has jumped up a little bit. You could see that it did increase the spin, and the shot was really down on its carry.
Yeah.
And then we moved on to the forged head, and for me that was a real jump. In terms of there was a bit more ball speed, there was a little bit more carry. The height was pretty similar.
From observing it, just looked like a bit of a stronger ball flight.
It did, yeah.
And I think you can see there from the spin, the difference in spin is massive.
Yeah, all the way through, and even the spin on the miss hit was still good, even though the dispersion, as you'd expect, if you had a bad shot, it would be offline, but it still carried a decent number.
Because the carry went up there. What's that from? The average carry went up from 176 with the tour to 183. So that's sort of six extra yards of carry, which I think the spin is probably the key factor there.
It's the spin consistency through those shots was a big thing, and that's very interesting. And then we moved on to the hot metal, which was just it was pretty exciting watching him hit that.
Yeah, it was just absolutely flying off the face.
As we'd expect with that golf club, with CG moved further back and everything, the ball flight was higher. It was it was 10 feet higher, which kind of we'd said and we would expect. Carry was further than either of the other two clubs, but it was great even on the miss hit.
Absolutely,
it still went straight, and the technology, the perimeter weighting, everything that these game improvement clubs say they're going to do, we almost got a proof in the pudding on this test, didn't we?
I think the dispersion was like the key a key factor. Looking back at this data, the dispersion is a lot tighter. Because that miss hit, we lost and you can see when you look at the numbers, you can even pick it out because it was like 188, 188, 188, and then like 183.
Yeah.
But which had lost a little bit, but it was still very very tight, and that's why you're seeing the dispersion circle on the JPX hot metal is a lot tighter than it is, say, for example, on the JPX Tour, because the miss hit on that, it lost a bit of distance and did go offline. So. Just looking at the numbers there that we see, we've got the high launch on the JPX hot metal, but that spins down. So it's just like everything's working well on the stats on that club, and you always think you wouldn't expect someone who hits the ball as well as that guy does to go towards that club, but you see that numbers and you think that you'd have to consider it, because it's working so well.
Yeah, but I think the forge is for someone with that speed would be something he'd really want to be looking at, because the top line, the finish on the head and everything there was just about right, and the less amount of offset, so that's kind of slap bang in the middle, but it performed well in all categories for me.
Yeah, you get with the JPX900 forge, you get the looks address, which look fantastic, and you get that lovely forge feel as well. So sort of like there's the all-round package, and plus as well, you look at the forge there. It is that's the difference in height. It's like what's that? 15 feet, 14 feet difference in height. So you might think if you're playing into the wind, you might get a bit more control with the JPX900 forged.
Yeah, I think because we play in the UK, the conditions that we're used to, I think height is a really important discussion when you're having a custom fitting. I think if we were playing in Portugal or Florida all the time, it'd be a little bit different, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you just want to fly it as high as you can. But if you're playing Scotland or even coastal golf in England, and you're playing in wind a lot, flying them up really high is not really what you want to do. But saying that, the spin on the JPX on a hot metal, it's not too high. So you might you could probably be able to live with that high ball flight because you've not got the extra spin.
Yeah, I think maybe 3-4 iron. You might go with hot metal there. And really sticking it out there.
Yeah.
That's that'd be a very good driving iron.
Yeah.
And then going into the forge, like a funny little combo set. The longer clubs in the hot metal and then moving into a forge. So.
Do you think, as obviously you got people coming into the shop for fittings all the time. Do you think that's the way that a lot of people might go to kind of blend these irons together? Because I think that Yeah, you look at the finish on them. It's all fairly similar. So if you had these clubs in the bag, it's not like you're going to have a few sticking out. You can actually blend them together quite well. Do you think that's something you might see with people coming into your shop?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think pitching wedge 998 iron, you're looking for quality. You need the feedback, and you don't want anything jumping off the face. You don't want that extra ball speed, and all of a sudden you've got 10 yards extra carry. You're just looking for quality strike, spin, and all the control. But then as you progress, more forgiveness, and so on. But yeah, so definitely, hot metal higher. Then you might go forged, and then even go into the tour in the pitch wedge 998 iron. So yeah, I think there's an argument for having all three in your bag. Fantastic range. All do different things and add something to. Would do something for any player. Trackman's given us some good numbers there.
And it was a completely fair test. With that shaft, the variables, and we're not changing anything. It's almost like it's as close to almost as you can get as almost like robot testing. With someone who's striking it that consistently well. It's the difference that we're seeing in numbers is purely the difference in the materials and the technology, the CG placement, the cavity. That's the main contributory factor to what we're seeing there on those numbers. And obviously what Mizuno are keen to stress with this range, that there's different materials, different performance characteristics, and we've definitely got those there, which you can see in the Trackman numbers.
Okay. That was great. Thanks for coming down, James. Thanks for visiting us in the shack. And we'll look forward to doing future videos with you soon. And everybody look out for the next one.